Adam Schefter as we begin. Adam, what more can you tell us about this?
Listen, Laura, this is a decision the Patriots made, I think, from the moment that Mac Jones stepped into training camp. He showed that he belonged. He was pinpoint with his accuracy. He demonstrated great ability. The surprise is not that he's starting. The surprise is that they moved on from Cam Newton. But I think that Bill Belichick probably believed that it was just best off if you're handing off the starting quarterback job to Mac Jones to let him have it. Cam Newton's so well respected and so popular in the locker room that really maybe it's better off if he's not around, if he's allowed to find a job somewhere else, and that the job can belong entirely to Mac Jones without any questions, without any interference, and he can go on as the new starter for the Patriots this season and potentially for the next decade plus. So Cam Newton is released, sent on his way. He's allowed to sign with any other team, and Mac Jones is handed the keys to the Patriots franchise and expected to be the quarterback this season and for many seasons to come.
Yeah, our take on where those destinations could possibly be for Cam Newton is coming in a moment. But welcome to NFL Live, everybody. Adam with us for the hour. You'll have more from him. Dan Orlovsky is here, Mina Kimes, Marcus Spears as well. And coming up, we're 10 days away from Bucs Cowboys, the two most important things you need to know about that game. But back to our top story of the day. Cam Newton released, Mac Jones the starter. Marcus, what was your first reaction when the news came down?
I was shocked about him being released, and then kind of emotional. And it's something that I acknowledged about Cam. Listen, this game is hard to play. And playing in this game, being a veteran, going through being cut and retiring and all of that stuff, it does something to you. And if it doesn't, you don't understand the grind that it takes in order to at least to make a roster, to make a practice squad, let alone make a roster. But Cam has had an illustrious career at quarterback. He's done tremendous things. We've seen him at the height of his game. And I think emotionally for me, it was like, it feels like the end of an era. It feels like the end of Cam Newton being a starter and amongst the great quarterbacks in the NFL. So it was tough for me as a competitor, as a guy that has tremendous amount of respect for what Cam has done and the things he's gone through, but also as a former football player that understands how difficult it is to let alone make a team. And just shocked at the release, but it was a bit emotional for me because I know how hard it is. And when you're a vet, you scrapping to trying to regain some of the things that you experienced early in your career. It's always a hard thing to accept, man, when you're at this point.
Yeah, Marcus, to that point, Cam posted this message on his Instagram story earlier today. He said, "I really appreciate all the love and support during this time, but I must say, please don't feel sorry for me. Hashtag, I'm good." So at least good to see that. We'll see where he ends up landing. Mina, what do you think the future is for Cam Newton?
Well, first of all, I think it's incredible that you were able to read that so easily, Laura. So credit to you there.
Well, I had it in regular print here because otherwise I couldn't. But
oh, okay, she's got it on prompter. Okay, well, either way, credit to whoever translated it. I think that it really depends on what Cam wants, and we don't know that because we don't really know yet the circumstances of this split, how mutual it was. Whether Cam asked for a different opportunity. If he still wants to be a starter, there are not many places around the NFL that make sense for him at this point. Maybe Houston, but otherwise, I'm hearing teams like Denver, Carolina being thrown out. I don't see it. I think if he wants to be a starter outside of Houston, he's probably best served simply waiting for an opportunity to come up later in the season. Now, if he's willing to be a backup, that's where it gets interesting to me because, and this is very important, Cam Newton didn't lose this job. Mac Jones won it by playing extraordinarily well, and we're going to talk about that later. But Cam actually had a good preseason. He would be one of, if not the best backups in the NFL. So depending on his wishes, if he's willing to step into that role, I think there are a lot of teams that would be served by adding him to their rosters.
Yeah, I'll give you two teams that should be calling today. I would say Dallas and Tennessee, because I think that both of those football teams organizationally believe that they're legit playoff contenders and potentially for Tennessee, legit Super Bowl contenders. The backup for the Dallas Cowboys is Cooper Rush, and the backup for the Tennessee Titans right now is Logan Woodside. So I honestly believe that those organizations have to be realistic about the backup quarterback spot. And in a 17-game season that does have COVID implications, You just don't know. And God forbid that you miss out on a playoff spot or seeding because your starter has to miss 1 or 2 games and the backup isn't good. And I think that's the question they got to ask themselves. It's not, is Cam Newton a starter anymore? Does Cam Newton upgrade us at the backup quarterback spot? And I think those 2 teams are at the very top of the list. I would also say Seattle should call, Atlanta should call, and Baltimore should call. Now that's up to Cam to see if he wants to admit it or accept the backup role. And also, this is a guy that he's taken a lot of hits. And he's tried over the last 2 years to get his career back on track and then had to deal with, losing his starting job. He's made a lot of money. If they don't call or give him the spot he wants, I could also see Cam entertaining retirement and going off and doing something past football.
Well, as he said in his Instagram post today, he said, "I'm good." Also, if you remember, not that long ago, he was interviewed about being a backup. He said he thinks he's better than that. So we'll see if any of that's changed. Some more Patriots. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
Listen, and everybody, we going to do it on this show. Being unvaccinated means more than you just picking up being on a team. Because not only are these decisions made to bring Cam in as a backup, you concerned about the other guys.
Oh, the other quarterback in the room.
So, look, the other quarterbacks in the room, especially your starters at that. So it's a lot of things that need to be taken in consideration, and COVID and protocols and vaccinated and unvaccinated makes this much more difficult for Cam Newton to just land on any team because the due diligence that you have to do and the things you're trying to avoid, unfortunately, he's not one of those players that's vaccinated.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.